Okay, everybody, it is me, Gregory Mannarino. Sit down and relax because we have to talk, people. Many months ago, I explained to all of you that we should expect to see more lockdowns in the future. Well, that time is here now. We just found out that Austria is going to have a nationwide lockdown because apparently COVID over there is getting out of control. Now, this same narrative is being talked about throughout Europe. So, should we expect to see possibly another global lockdown? Wouldn't surprise me at all. Again, I foretold this to you many months ago. Logically, understanding what's really going on here, this is something that we should expect. Again, nothing is what it seems to be. You all know that. Okay, I've explained this to you over and over again. Another global economic lockdown would allow central banks to really finish what they started again, and that is to be the lenders and buyers of last resort, to own it all. That's really what is behind this entire thing, and you all know that. Again, we've all been lied to in every way you can possibly imagine. Wearing some kind of a device across your face was supposed to help. These vaccines were supposed to help, but now they want to lock us down again. So what are they saying? It should be pretty obvious to you. Again, nothing is what it seems, and we should really expect more lockdowns moving forward in whatever part of the world that you live in. Understand what you're seeing, and nothing is what it seems. People, they're going to come up with things that you can't possibly imagine moving forward. Like, for example, mysteriously finding a vial of smallpox lying in some storage facility where it's not supposed to be. A virus that was supposed to be eradicated many years ago. More fear, more control mechanisms, another reason to create yet another vaccine and make that mandatory as well. We are living in very twisted times, people, and again, this is something we've all been foretold would happen from a very, very long time ago. And I think if you're paying attention, you see what I'm talking about here. I've been telling all of you for a very long time as well to expect the unexpected. Expect things to happen that are going to really take people by absolute surprise, but not you. But not you, for example, talking about more lockdowns here. I told you to expect this many, many months ago. Well, it's here now. And how is this going to affect things? Let's look at the market right now. Stock futures, Dow futures, S&P futures are lower. NASDAQ futures are actually higher. Crude oil taking a hit here. There's a fear trade going on right now. Fear that, yes, more nations will be locked down. How do we know there is a fear trade going on? Which actually started yesterday. I explained to you yesterday that the entire yield curve came down. What does it mean when the yield curve drops like we saw yesterday? Actually, it's coming down right now further. It means that cash is seeking safety. It's making its way into the debt market. When cash moves into the debt market, yields drop. That's how it works. The dollar right now, the Dixie, the relative strength, whammo, higher. When you see those two things, again, yield curve dropping, dollar strength, stock futures lower, that is a fear trade. And it's fear, being that Austria now just announced a nationwide lockdown. Europe will probably follow suit, and who knows, it may sweep the entire globe. Now, who's going to make up the difference here? If we are in an economic lockdown yet again, let me put a perspective on this for you. Nothing on this planet will make a central bank happier than more lockdowns. Again, it allows them to fulfill their end game. They will continue to issue more debt around the world. They will create more slaves, more slavery on a macro scale. Entire nations becoming slaves to central banks, their central bank, and individual slaves. People become more slaves to the system. This is a slave system. Do you understand? And you're in the heart of it right now. And like I've been explaining to you since time immemorial, I know you like that. You haven't seen anything yet. Nothing. So again, like I've explained to you, people, be ready. Be ready for anything. Nothing should surprise you. If aliens start to fly out of Greg Mannarino's head, or if you happen to look in the mirror and see aliens flying out of your own head, you should expect it. Okay? We are sincerely in... It's a new ball game. It's a whole new set of rules, and it's all about control. All of it, everything here we're seeing is about control. More control on the people. You all know that. So again, like I said, nothing here is a surprise to you. Let's talk about this market. Let's go back to it real quick. Like I said, there's a fear trade going on. Yield curve coming down, dollar strength. Okay, stock futures lower. That's a fear trade. Generally, when you see a fear trade like this and you see yields coming down, well, you know what that is? It's a buying opportunity. You and I clearly understand what we're looking at. Most people have not even the slightest clue when they're looking at this market here. Everyone's looking for a stock market crash or a stock market meltdown by looking at the stock market itself. Make that up. Okay, you can't do that. You have to look at the drivers. What's driving the market? What's driving the market is action of central banks who have suppressed rates now for over an entire decade. And when you see the yield curve coming down like this, and it's a fear trade, and you know the Fed's going to continue to buy things, and more, actually, as a matter of fact, if they lock us down, if they continue to lock down nation after nation after nation, well, what does that mean? That means these central banks are going to be all happy. Oh yeah, we get to buy more assets. We get to issue more of our products. See, central banks' product is one thing. They issue debt, okay, in the form of fiat currency, and then they take that fiat currency and they buy assets with it, creating slaves across the entire face of the earth. That's all they are doing. The nature of the debt-based economic model, people, demands, as you all know, that debt be borrowed into existence in greater and greater amounts. And they must create reasons, any, to pull cash from the future. Like I've explained to you, the last 3 presidents, including this one, have borrowed more cash into existence than I think anyone could possibly have ever imagined. And it can't stop. They must come up with any reason. Again, the presidents, they're mouthpieces. That's all they are. Okay, they are a figurehead. They're fed a script. They're told what to say so central banks can do what they do. Okay, and that is continue to issue debt so they can move higher to the top of that pyramid. And central banks are now sincerely the ruling body of the world. And I can tell you this. And it's so logical. Like I said many months ago, they would lock us down again to fulfill their end game, to be the lenders and buyer of last resort, to buy it all. That is their final solution, people, to own the world and create slaves. And in the meantime, eliminating an entire class of people, the middle class. You all know that. Anyway, let us move forward here, people. Gold is slightly higher right now. Silver is under a little pressure. Cryptocurrencies about flat. Bitcoin hovering around 58,000. And that's just the way it's going to go here. I think you all know that the MMRI actually came down. It's 91.5. You know my take on this. I don't like seeing the MMRI where it is. I want to see it below 90. And with regard to the fear trade that's going on right now, and it's clearly a fear trade again, dollar markedly stronger, yields dropping, stock futures lower. Well, look, as you well know, okay, we're not in the business of picking tops or bottoms in this market. But when you see this kind of movement, realizing what the end game here is of central banks, these things present opportunity. But I want you to be cautious here. If we end up seeing more widespread lockdowns, the stock market will take a hit, and it could be substantial. All right, I'm not talking about a crash here, okay? I still don't see a crash coming in this market until you and I see an uncontrolled spike in the debt market, specifically the 10-year yield rising at an uncontrolled pace. There's not going to be a crash. Is it possible that we could see this market take a big hit without a crash? Of course we could. 20%, 30%, is that even possible? Of course it is. Of course it is. But as long as the 10-year yield stays suppressed here, and it's going to, and we don't see the 10-year yield spiking, there's going to be no crash. Let me explain this to you. A crash in this environment would probably be 70 to 80% of this market losing its value. An 80% wipeout of the stock market value currently is well within the realm of reality, and I would not be surprised to see the stock market lose 80% of its value in a crash scenario. So just again, think of what I'm telling you here. Okay, I want you to ponder what I'm talking about. How they're setting this up, new lockdowns here now. They're happening. I told you this would more than likely happen. I told you why it would happen, so central banks could finish what they started, to be the lender, buyer of last resort, to own it all. Nothing on this planet would make central banks happier than a new global shutdown. Expect anything, like I said. They just found these mysterious vials of smallpox, just happened to be sitting in a Pfizer lab somewhere, not supposed to be there, really? You really think that was just by chance that happened right now, people? No. It's about fear as well. Control by fear. And I can promise you, you haven't seen anything yet. So be ready for it. Listen to Greg Mannarino. I'm telling you, be ready for anything. All right, people, look, with that said, I think this video has been very important. I want you to share it. I want you to ponder the things I've spoken about. I want you to comment here. I always read the comments. I do write back once in a while. If I can, I get a lot of comments, but I will read what you have to say. And I'm very curious. Love you a lot. I will see you at the end of the day.